Each week, we hold in our service a time for sharing the joys and the sorrows that we bring with us into this community. This past week, several members of the church reached out to me asking me to place stones for their joys or their sorrows. The first stone we place on behalf of Jean McKinney. Jean writes, "My parents lived in Fayetteville for many years and had two best friends, Margaret and Robert Kirkpatrick. Margaret passed away on Friday. She was a very warm-hearted, generous woman whose spirits did not flag throughout her illness. Jean asks that we please send love and light to Margaret's husband, her children, and all of her family. And I add sending our prayers of care and sympathy to Jean and to Margie McKinney." Ellie and Tim Sullivan asked me to place a stone. They're excited to announce that their son's start date as a doctor at Duke is July 1st. Congratulations to Ellie and Tim and their son. Mary Hewlett asked me to place a stone on behalf of the Immigrant Justice Initiative here at the church. Mary Hewlett writes, "Our Jamie Munoz Rivera has her work permit, her Social Security card, a job, and has opened her first bank account. She arrived at our church 1 year ago and has accomplished so much." Mary LeMay asked me to place a stone. Mary writes, "I have a great joy, which is that all 7 of my grandchildren have participated in demonstrations and protests arising from the killing of George Floyd. They participated in those protests and demonstrations here and in San Jose, California." Mary adds that one of her grandchildren has also gotten a letter to the editor into her local newspaper. Blessings on them. Mark Dorison and Bronwyn Merritt asked me to place a stone. They write, "We'd like to have a stone placed for our dear friend Julie Potts, whose mother Kathleen recently died at the age of 94. She was a lifelong semi-professional opera singer and will be remembered for her sense of humor, her love of music, and her strength and resilience in the face of personal tragedy. Because of the pandemic, Mark and Bronwyn's friend Julie was not able to travel to be with her mother Kathleen in her final days, but was grateful for the time they were able to spend together earlier this year. And so we as a community hold Julie close in our hearts this morning." And finally, the stone is placed on behalf of Anna Wren. Anna writes, "Last week I learned that my friend Lauren has been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis after going to the hospital for double vision. Anna says that her friend is doing a lot better now than she was a week ago, and she has approached the situation with a lot of positivity. And we can add to that by holding Anna and her friend Lauren in our prayers this morning." A final stone is placed for all those joys and sorrows that we hold in our hearts that weren't spoken this morning, but that are no less real. Let us take a moment to hold each of these joys and sorrows, sadness for those who have passed, care and compassion for those who mourn, gratitude for long lives well lived, prayers of support for those who face illness, hope for those who are letting their conscience be known in this time, joy for meaning and accomplishment. For all of these, we hold our community, one another, and the wider world in our prayers. Amen. Won't you join with me in the words by which we extinguish the chalice? We say together, "We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again."